Notion just fixed probably one of the only issues I found between connecting Notion calendar to a meetings database in Notion. This one drove me crazy for months, but I brought it up on X, immediately got response from people on the Notion team and Notion calendar, and pretty much the next day, this update hit Notion calendar. The issue was whether you had a custom agent or a Claude or Codex skill syncing your calendar to a meetings database in Notion. If you open Notion calendar and you click join and transcribe, instead of using the existing link that's there, it's creating a new meeting notes page, which means you end up with two meeting pages, one with all of the details and one with your Notion AI meeting notes. So in this video, we're looking at a few quick things. One, where that update lives in Notion calendar. Two, setting up a custom agent that's syncing between your calendar and Notion, what that looks like, how to set it up, not only for new events, but if you have updates to existing events, or even if you cancel events. I'm gonna add all the resources down in the description in case you're curious or want to set this up. If you're new here, I'm Dave Cespedes. I run a consultancy called Workcraft Labs, and I'm a certified Notion consultant. And we help VC firms, growth stage startups, and creative agencies on a combination of setting up Notion workspaces, implementing AI workflows, and really getting everybody on a team to 10x their productivity, usually on a combination of setting up Notion workspaces for teams and implementing AI-driven workflows. So if you want to stay up to date on Notion updates or practical AI workflows for your team, definitely subscribe and check out the newsletter. I'll also add a link to that below. Otherwise, let's jump in. Quick note before we set up our custom agent, you are going to need a meetings database, and this doesn't have to get too complicated. If I open a new page, we'll see we only have a few properties that we need to have set up: a date, meeting URL, a calendar URL, attendees, who created it. I've got a few other relations in here, but we don't really need to get into those details. It's really just what information do we want to pull in from our calendar events to get into this database. A couple of things to keep in mind. We don't want to limit this to just when an event is created, because we're going to run into issues if there's a change to the schedule or if an event gets moved or deleted. We want to make sure that reflects back in Notion. So our three triggers are when an event is created, when it's updated, and when it's canceled. That means that our meetings database is completely in sync with whatever is happening in our calendar. If you're new to Notion Calendar or you don't use it on a regular basis, you can add a new link from here. This is going to create a block in a brand new page. The issue up until recently is that if you clicked into an event and you have an automation or an agent running in the background, you create a new Notion page that's got the date, all the details. Even if you add that back into the event description and you've got it as a link, when you click add meeting note, it's going to create a brand new page and it's not going to pull in the existing Notion page that you've already added as a link. We're going to get into setting up an agent to sync these. Quick overview on how this is set up. So we have our calendar events created first. That triggers our custom agent or our automation if we're using Claude Code or Codex. What that does is create a meeting page in Notion and then grab that link and then add it back to the event description. Okay, from our sidebar, if we click create a new agent, this has gotten incredibly easy. Just dictate what you want it to do and we'll figure out all the details after. But if I click in here, I'm gonna use Whisperflow to transcribe this. So I'm just gonna say, run a sync between Google Calendar events and our meetings database in Notion so that we're grabbing the calendar URL, the meeting URL, any attendees, fill in the event name and date and time. And also when an event is updated in Google Calendar, make sure that reflects in the meetings database. And if an event is deleted in Google Calendar, make sure that's deleted or archived from the meetings database. So we're going to plug that in here. We're just going to have it do its thing, test it, and then make any edits that we need. So we see here it's setting this up, and once it's done, we're going to see some instructions. We're going to make some decisions on when we want this to run, the model that we want to default to, and other settings that we want to set up. Okay, now that it's done thinking, we've got a quick response from our custom agent. When we go up to triggers, this is already set up for us. We really don't need to make any changes here. It added these triggers, which are when an event's created, updated, or canceled. So anytime this is happening in our calendar, it's updating in meetings. Now, one issue that's come up for me that I want to make sure you avoid is making sure that we're not creating meeting pages for events that are actually not meetings. I like to block out times for offline or for weekly review that I don't need a meeting page for. So what we're going to do is add a few extra rules so that we're only grabbing events that are actual meetings. So I'm just going to say update instructions to avoid events that are called offline or weekly review or don't have a Zoom link or Google Meet link, and avoid events that don't have other attendees. Update instructions. We're going to add that in the chat, give it a once over, and then test this out. Okay, so that's done. It's taking me to those changes. Let's open this full screen so we can see exactly what it built. It's grabbing calendar ID, URLs, field mapping, any guardrails. Actually, that reminds me, I want to do one more thing, which is if that person is in my workspace, like if it's a client and we're collaborating in our client dashboard, I want to make sure I add them as attendees, which is going to give them access to that meeting page. If you haven't used page level access, it's a great update to databases. It basically means you could have a shared database where team members don't have access to the entire database, but they can still see pages that they're tagged in. We're going to say, look over attendee emails and review if they exist as workspace members. And if they are a member, add them as an attendee to the meeting page. I think from there, we should be good to go. And then we're going to go back into Notion Calendar, see what this looks like, and test this out with a few events. Oh, before I forget, for meeting pages that are created, automatically apply the meeting notes template, which will populate the page with a Notion AI meeting notes block. This one is super important because if we create a new page in a meetings database, but it doesn't apply the template that has the Notion AI meeting notes block, it's not going to show up in Notion Calendar. So not only do we need to create the meeting page, we need to apply the template. And that way Notion Calendar knows that's the meeting page. And when you click join, when the time comes for the meeting, it's taking you to that page and it's starting the transcription of that meeting. Last couple notes, if we go into tools and access, this is a simple one. We don't need access to the web. We don't need access to any other databases. Again, if you are doing things like connecting this meeting to an existing project or to an existing client, you might want to give it access to those databases. In this case, we're setting access to can edit content, which means it could update properties without making structural changes to the database. This is one thing I recommend to clients often is when we're in doubt and we're rolling out a set of databases to an entire organization, default to can edit content, which means that everybody could plug in all the data they need without accidentally adding new properties or deleting properties. It happens more than you would expect. You could always upgrade employees to can edit or full access, but just default to can edit content. If we go into the calendar, if you wanted to add additional connections, maybe you're adding a Slack message update if a meeting page is created, you can go here, click Slack, connect, and then set those rules. Also for model, this is a very simple automation. We're not really using a lot of reasoning. It's really just grabbing data from the event, plugging it into the meeting database. So we can use a very basic model here. I like Luna. You can actually see this one is one of the lowest cost ones. You could also set additional rules. If for any reason that model fails, you can decide to wait until it comes back online, or you can just set it to auto, or you can use a backup model. Once we have that in, we're going to save and run a test for a specific date range to see what pages it's creating in Notion and what it looks like in Notion Calendar. We're going to close these instructions. We did forget one important thing, which is once this is all done, we have our new pages in our meetings database. We need to grab the link to that page and add it to the event description. So I'm going to say update instructions so that we grab the link to the meeting notes page and add it into the event description. Don't delete any existing event descriptions, just add the link in addition to what's already there. So we're going to let that run. It just added this text specifically. That looks good. Close that. And it does require us to say publish it. Now that's done, we're going to say review meetings between August 31st and September 4th. We'll click continue. Okay, so it's showing me exactly what was updated in Calendar. And if we go back into Calendar, but now if we go into an event and it's got a page linked, instead of saying create a new meeting note, it's going to say open meeting note. It's going to take us directly to that page, and it's going to highlight the meeting notes block so that we can just start transcribing, and we're good to go. So that's all we got for this one. It seems like a simple update, but it should prevent a lot of headaches in the future. And a couple of things to note in the description, I'm going to add a link to this custom agent, exactly how we set it up today. If you're using Cloud Code or Codex, I'm going to also include a link to that skill so you can just grab that zip file, upload it to whatever tool you're using, and have it run in the exact same way. If you are using this, let me know how it's working. If any questions come up, we're going to have a series of meeting deep dive follow-ups. There's a lot that we haven't covered that we're going to get into in terms of connecting meetings to projects or to clients or areas, and also pulling key details from those meetings so that we don't have to go back into each individual meeting to find what we're looking. Otherwise, that's all I got for now. See you in the next one. Cheers.